All right, y'all, you already know what time it is. Let's go ahead and rank the starting shooting guards for every single NBA team going into the 24-25 NBA season. Let's jump into it. Without further ado, this one is super exciting because the shooting guard position is super stacked. Again, I got these players from the depth chart within the ESPN website. So if there's players you're seeing, you're like, I don't know if he's a traditional two. That's what ESPN is saying. So you already know what time it is. Let's just go ahead and jump into it. Anthony Simons. Anthony Simons is a really good young player. Has really great offensive capabilities. Good at driving, good at shooting, good at slashing. Really dynamite from three. He's just super injury prone, but I feel like he's gotten a lot of experience from his time with Dame Lillard and a lot of that fearless shot taking that you see him kind of do within game. So I really like Anthony Simons here, and I think going into next season, I think he's like a comfortable B. He's got a ton of potential. I think he could potentially move up to the A, but you know what I mean. He has to stay on the floor. Anthony Edwards. So this guy is so charismatic, great personality, best personality in the league if you ask me. Just great. In terms of his game, he can do everything. His crazy athleticism can cram on people. He's a good shooter. He's fearless. Fearless. He has that ice in his veins. And that's what you need in a shooting guard. You need a player who's gonna jump into very difficult moments and make the right plays. Clearly, he has great basketball IQ. He knows how to utilize his bigs and Cat and Rudy Gobert. He's a decent rebounder for his size and being a shooting guard. And he's just a bona fide scorer. You know, he looks up to guys like KD. KD, I think, is his favorite player. And he really mimics a lot of KD's game. I can see subtle nuances. Obviously, they're not the same size or anything like that, but I see subtle nuances of KD's game within and Edwards' game. He's a killer on the court. Love him. That he's an S for sure. He's vaulted himself. This past year, he vaulted himself into that category, and I don't see it slowing down now with the T Wolves, obviously. Next one up, Andrew Nembhard. Andrew Nembhard is a good young player. He's still developing. He's good on the defensive end. He's like a really good glue piece, I feel, for the Indiana Pacers. I have no problems with him at all. I think he's really solid, but I don't think he's quite as offensively gifted as Anthony Simons. Obviously, he's pretty dynamite. So I'm going to go ahead and take him at a C, although I do really like Andrew Nembhard. And I guess you can make a case that he's a B, but I don't see it quite yet. And I don't know how he's going to be able. I don't know what to expect for next season. I'll just leave it at that. You guys let me know if you think something different. Next up, we have Cam Thomas. So Cam Thomas, super streaky, but when he gets hot, bro, can go for 40. I remember there was like a stretch last season where he had like a ton of 30 or 40-point games back to back. He was really on a heater, but then he can also cool down. He can also have, not the greatest shooting nights, super inefficient at times. But I like him. I like his potential, and he's really solid. I don't know how much he really gives you on the defensive end, but he's pesky, he's scrappy, he gets after it. He's a hustle player as well. So shout out to Cam Thomas. I'm going to take him in a B. OG Anunoby came up on the depth chart as being the shooting guard. Or no, Mikal Bridges did, but I actually had Mikal Bridges in my small forward video. So I'm going to go ahead and take OG as a shooting guard for this video. OG Anunoby, one of the best defenders in the league. He could virtually guard 1 through 5. His defense is insane. He could really stretch the floor, has a great 3 ball. He was really shooting it well right when he came onto the Knicks. And for the Raptors, for the rest of his career, really since he was drafted in 2017, he's always been a great scorer, a great shooter mostly from outside. There were years where he wanted to kind of take on a new role and become maybe a secondary or tertiary option. I don't really know if he's that, but what I do know is if you find him open on the wing, he will bury that jumper. So shout out to OG Anunoby. Defense is insane. That's where he hangs his hat on, but offensively he's come a long way and he has a great 3-point shot. CJ McCollum is a fantastic player. I'm happy now that the Pelicans have DeJounte Murray. They just received him. He's going to play the point. CJ McCollum is going to play this shooting guard position, which I think is his more natural position. That's what he played when he was with Dame Dalla. He's a great scorer. I don't know if he's as much of a passer, which is why I don't think that it really worked that well with the Pelicans. DeJounte Murray is going to be much better at setting guys up in the pick and roll, much better at finding shooters. Not that CJ was bad, but he just I think they obviously made the right decision in getting DeJounte at the 1, CJ at the 2. I really like CJ McCollum, high level scorer. Vet, he's a pro. He never does too much, and I just think he's really good. I think I'm gonna place CJ McCollum in the. Do I take him in the A? I'll take CJ in the A. Derek White, debatably the best role player in the NBA. I mean, this guy is dynamic defensively. He gobbles up rebounds. He can really stretch the floor. He can shoot a midi. He has great shooting touch. He's a good slasher. He has fantastic basketball IQ. Derek White is so good. I'm gonna take him in A. I mean, this guy, without him, like just getting him recently for the Boston Celtics, that was really kind of what catapulted them into true contender status. Because I think the backcourt pairing of Drew Holiday and Derek White is suffocating on defense. Plus, they really hold their own on the offensive end as well. Donovan Mitchell, fantastic offensive talent. But that's kind of where, well, there's a lot of great things about his offensive game. But when I transition over to his defense, there's a lot of flaws about his defense. He's not really good at keeping his himself in front of guys. He's not really a great individual defender. As a team defender, he can get by sometimes. But offensively, I mean, as shooting guards, I'd say the best three are probably Book and Edwards and Donovan Mitchell, right? If I'm not mistaken, unless I'm missing somebody. There's Luka Doncic in here. So if you consider Luka Doncic a 1 or a 2, whatever, I have him as a 2 in this list. Obviously, Luka would be up there as well. But undoubtedly, Donovan Mitchell, I mean, this guy put up 70 points, I believe, 1 year. Crazy offensive talent, can shoot from all over the floor, ice in his veins. Has a crazy handle, crazy bag work, sticks the mid-range all the time. He's nasty, good facilitator. I mean, this guy's an all-around talent. Tyler Hero, offensively gifted, super offensively gifted. He kind of reminds me of Anthony Simons in terms of how he's able to get his shot, great shot creation, good from three. Shout out to Tyler Hero, great offensive talent. That's where he hangs his hat. I'm going to place Tyler Hero at a... I'm going to take him at an A. I'm going to take Tyler Hero at an A. This guy's incredible, and he's super young. He's only going to get better. Desmond Bane really knocked down from three. I think he's roughly 40% from three. I think for the past 3 years, he's been flirting with 40%. 39, 40, 41, 42-ish, if I'm not mistaken. This guy's lights out from three. Great second option beside Ja Morant. Great at driving the basketball. People like to troll him and say he has T-Rex arms, but honestly, he's not a bad defender, and like he's got a burly frame. You feel what I'm saying. You know his build. He kind of looks like some sort of a football player, right? He's 6'4". He's got good size for the shooting guard position. I like him a lot. This guy's a fantastic player, and hopefully he won't be injured to start next year. So he'll be right back into that starting shooting guard spot for the Memphis Grizzlies. Next up, we have Kevin Huerter. Kevin Huerter, he's cool. The Sacramento Kings just paid Malik Monk. But I believe he's more comfortable coming off of the bench. So I've read the different resources that I've seen on Malik Monk and his position on the team. He just works so much better as a six-man type of player. So I believe, and as per the depth chart, Kevin Huerter is going to be the starting shooting guard. Kevin Huerter is a good player. Again, great three ball. And it's going to be good for him to provide some spacing. He's going to be probably, him and Keegan Murray are going to be the strongest three-point shooters within the starting lineup for the Sacramento Kings. So I think he's decent. I don't think he's amazing or anything. He can light it up in a hurry though. He can get you 20 plus. I'm going to take him at a C. Shout out to Kevin Huerter. Next up, Grady Dick. So Grady Dick came into the beginning of last season with the Raptors. He wasn't really playing that well. He couldn't really find minutes like that. And when he did come on, he wasn't great. Towards the end of the season, Grady Dick was really kind of came around. And, once the Raptors kind of cemented themselves into sort of a little bit of a rebuild mode because of all the injuries and all the things happening with that organization, he really started to find his zone, find his footing. He came out in Summer League this year, played great. I think he had a near triple-double in game one, but then he got injured after that. The second game he came out and he didn't perform well at all, and then he got injured, I think, mid-game. So I don't know what to expect from him this year. His potential is super high. I mean, he plays a shooting guard. He's about 6'7", 6'8". So he's taller for his position. He's a fantastic shooter. I mean, this is what guys were looking for. I mean, this is what NBA teams were looking for from him. Obviously, that's like his one skill where you can be like, all right, this guy can shoot the basketball. The Raptors picked him up, and so far he's been okay. I mean, he definitely redeemed himself at the end of last season. I'm going to take Grady Dick in a C though, just because I don't know how. I don't really know how he's going to translate into next season. I mean, he's shown promise in Summer League, then he got injured. I don't really know how he'll fare, and I don't see him on the level of Cam Thomas, the scoring level of Cam Thomas or Anthony Simons, or the two-way capability of OG. So I'll place him at a C. Guys, drop a comment. Always let me know, what you think of these players that I'm rating. Keontae George, one of the one of the staples to the Utah Jazz kind of rebuilding. Well, to the Utah Jazz franchise, but to this rebuilding core is Keontae George. He's a good player, good scorer. Inefficiency woes, definitely, especially towards the end of the season. He just needs run. He just needs playing time. He's really good though, and like I've seen a ton of flashes throughout the year with Keontae George. That was a great pickup for the Utah Jazz, and I'm sure they're pretty happy with him. Next up, Kelly Oubre Jr. So I had Kelly Oubre in my last video, but when I go to the depth chart, he actually comes up as a starting shooting guard because I believe the lineup for the Sixers, if I'm not mistaken, sorry to go off on a little tangent here, but we have Tyrese Maxey, then it's going to be Kelly Oubre, then it's going to be PG, if I'm not mistaken, and then at the 4, I think it might be Joel, and then they might be playing Andre Drummond at the center. So there's rumors that he might actually be starting. They might start both Joel and Drummond. So that's a little interesting. Anyways, I got Kelly Oubre here. I've rated him before. He's a solid player. I think when I look at him in regards to these other shooting guards, he's solid. He can give you 20 in a hurry. I mean, the guy's a certified bucket. I don't know how confident I mean, he's good. He's good. I mean, you could say he's a B, but I personally think these other guys above him are. I'll take Kelly Oubre and place him in a C. I mean, he's definitely serviceable. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. I don't want to get too into it with him, but yeah, I'm feeling him at a C. Gary Trent Jr., really good player, really good young player. Seems like he's been in the league for a while now, but he's still only like 24, 25 years old. Starting shooting guard for the Bucks going forward. They needed to make some type of offensive move. They needed to make some type of move in the off season. They were lacking a little bit with their guard depth. So I feel like Gary Trent Jr. again, he's reunited with his old teammate Dame Lillard. I feel like that chemistry will bode over well, and now Gary Trent Jr. is going to get a ton of open shots because the gravity of Dame Lillard and the gravity of Giannis Antetokounmpo, he's going to get a ton of looks, and hopefully he can make a ton of them. And I think he only signed a vet minimum, so hopefully after this year, this can be somewhat of a redeeming year for him, and he can go into free agency next year and kind of have a bag lined up for him, so to speak. So I like Gary Trent Jr. I don't know if I take him on quite the level of these two other guys, but I'll take him at a C. Buddy Hield is a fantastic player. Splash Buddy's over there with the Warriors now. I really like that fit with Stephen Curry. I think it's going to be great for them, but I do think obviously they regressed losing Klay Thompson in the offseason. But shout out to Buddy Hield. He can definitely hold his own, and I just think the 3-point capability and the shot creation beyond the arc. He's a spot up shooter. He can also create his own shot from beyond the 3-point arc, as I mentioned. So I'm gonna go ahead and take Buddy Hield at a B. Next up, we got Jaden Ivey. So Jaden Ivey is a decent little young piece for the Detroit Pistons. Obviously, the Pistons aren't as high as they are on guys like a Cade Cunningham or Jalen Duren or Asar Thompson. But I think Jaden Ivey is cool. He's a good young player. He like those moments when Cade's out of the game and he's in, you see him step it up a bit, and I like that from him. But I just don't know how much I really love Jaden Ivey or his game. He's pretty inefficient at times, and he's mostly a shooter. He's not really a facilitator. He's not the best rebounder. I'm gonna take him at a C. I mean, you could argue he's a B. Drop a comment if you think he's a B. Christian Braun, good player. Losing KCP really hurts because he was a great 3-and-D player for the Denver Nuggets, and I think just having Christian Braun there, this is, I believe, year 3 going into the 24-25 NBA season. This will be for Christian Braun. He's okay. He's kind of a hustle guy. He's he can shoot the open shot. He's good at cutting. He's good at moving without the basketball. That's one thing that really stuck out to me. He's good, but I feel like a C is probably okay for him. They definitely are going to miss KCP. Next up, we have Terrence Mann. Great defender. Offensively, a little bit limited. Great slasher, great cutter. Great at finding the open man. He was able to get a ton of open looks. He didn't really nail them all. There was a ton of gravity with PG and Kawhi Leonard last season. There won't be as much this season. I feel like he's going to have to hang his hat up on his defensive game. Because that's really what's going to carry him to being successful. But he obviously needs to let his offense shine. And I think we might see a little bit of a leap from him this year because of, obviously the LA Clippers losing PG. They need somebody to kind of step it up. And I feel like Jaden Ivey might step it up, but I still only believe he's a C tier player. Jalen Green is bananas. He makes some crazy tough shots, wildly inefficient some nights, but towards the end of last season, he really picked it up. He really turned it on, and he really showed that, hey, maybe Sengun and Green are the new like kind of top two within that rebuilding core for the Houston Rockets, right? Because people were feeling a little cold on Jalen Green because he was just, it seemed for a while there, his efficiency was really poor. I think he ended the season with like a low 40s field goal percentage, or maybe even high 30s, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't checked, but that's kind of what I'm feeling it is, and what I think I remember from the end of the season. So Jalen Green, he turned around towards the end of the season. I still think he's super dynamic. He's a little one-dimensional. He's really just like a bona fide scorer. But I do think that he has fantastic offensive chops, and for that reason, I'm going to place him in a B because the potential's there. The guy's so young, so you never know. This guy can vault himself into maybe an A, maybe an S. You never know with these young players. Next up, Zach LaVine. So Zach LaVine is still a dog. Don't put it past him. He got a little injured. He's inefficient at times. Some games he'll give you 10. Other games he'll give you 40. It's weird. He's not the greatest defender either, but he has a crazy bag, crazy handle to him, can make super difficult shots. He's going to need to kind of level up his efficiency. Hopefully his efficiency can rise, and he's going to need to be a better player than he has been in the past because losing DeMar DeRozan is really tough. I believe the Bulls were trying to trade him, but I was seeing a report on Bleacher Report that was saying that they might not be able to. They're kind of locked into keeping him for now. There might not be like a suitable move for him at the moment. But I'm going to take Zach LaVine at an A, just because of what he's been able to show on the offensive end. He's really a ridiculous scorer. Jordan Poole. Okay, so Jordan Poole, this guy was so bad last season. Again, first year in Washington. The Golden State Warriors obviously traded him away, added CP3, blah, blah, blah from last season. Jordan Poole really came out, played so poorly. Everyone was like, "Oh my goodness, this is terrible." Him and Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma with the infamous tweet saying like, "You don't want to be those guys to lose to the Detroit Pistons." They actually ended up with a worse record. The Wizards ended up with a worse record than the Detroit Pistons. So that just speaks to all you need to know about the Wizards organization right now. Jordan Poole came in there and he just all of a sudden forgot how to shoot. He looked lost on offense. He looked lost on defense. He was shooting a ton of shots that I think, he thought he had the green light for, but maybe he doesn't necessarily have that. Obviously not going from playing in an environment with the Splash Brothers, Klay Thompson and Steph and Draymond and all these vets who know how to set a young player up, a young shooting guard up for success, how to find him in his spots. They definitely instilled a lot of confidence in him, and they definitely knew where to find him and how to like help him improve his game. I think going into next season, Jordan Poole is going to have worked on his things, and he's going to be a better player. He's going to be a little bit more efficient, and he's going to still have to get a ton of buckets and be the brunt of this offensive load for the Washington Wizards because they really don't have anybody that can really do it. Alex Sarr does not look that good. It was only summer league, of course, but you know what I mean? I don't want to base too much off of summer league, but he doesn't look quite ready. Could be wrong. Kyle Kuzma's cool, but outside of that, they just lost Tyus Jones. Tyus Jones just went to the Suns, which I think is fantastic for the Suns. But anyways, Jordan Poole, I think he's going to have to kind of get a little better from last season. I'm going to take Jay Poole. I'm going to have some belief in him and take him at a B. Alex Caruso, that apparently is the starting shooting guard for the Oklahoma City Thunder going into next year. When I look at Alex Caruso, I think 3, I think D. And then I think on the defensive side of the ball, he's really that guy. Like, he's one of the premier perimeter defenders in this league. So shout out to Alex Caruso. And I think just based off of the strength of his defensive game and how much he brings to a contender now, like the OKC, which is crazy because OKC is so young, but I really think they are contenders. I mean, they made it so far last year. I think I'm gonna place him at a B because he's a high impact player, and he's gonna just make everyone around him better. Can you imagine a backcourt or a shooting guard and small forward wings of Alex Caruso and Lu Dort? That's gonna be suffocating for opposing wings and defenses. So I like Alex Caruso there at a B. I might be a bit too optimistic on him, but anyways, moving on. Devin Vassell, great score, little inefficient. I think he's going to be all right. They paid him the bag. A lot of people didn't think that that the Spurs paying him the contract that they paid him. They a lot of people, sorry, a lot of people think it was an overpay. But I think it was okay, and I think it'll age okay with all this new TV money coming in. Devin Vassell is decent player. I don't love him for sure, and he's not really a defender like that. But hopefully, Pop can change that around for him. I'm going to take Devin Vassell probably in a. He gets over 20 a game. He's a little inefficient. I don't really know, guys, to keep it honest with you. I might take Devin Vassell and place him in a B. I'll put some respect on Devin Vassell's name. Drop a comment, obviously, if you disagree. Luka Doncic, no questions. I don't have to say too much. This guy can shoot from all over the court. He's a fantastic facilitator, great rebounder at the guard position. He does everything at an elite level. This guy was winning EuroLeague MVPs at the age of, 16, 17. No questions asked. Finally made it to the finals this year. Wasn't able to pull it off, but we see what Luka Doncic is able to do on a night-to-night basis. He's easily a top 5 player in this league. That's all you got to say. Bogdanovic. So shout out to Bogdanovic. Great shooter. This guy's been a great shooter his whole career. He's really good for the Atlanta Hawks. He's not really a defender. He could get hot in a hurry. He's pretty streaky as well. But he's a vet, and I feel like he just knows how to play the right way. Bogdanovic, I'll take him in a C. If there was like a C plus B minus, I would put him in there. He's really solid though. I might take Christian Braun now that I'm looking at it, and I might place him in a D. That might be our first D player. Yeah, and the rest I think is okay. Anyways, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, KCP. Big pickup for the Orlando Magic. This is great. Again, a 3-and-D guy. The defense is crazy. Will hit the open 3, no doubt. Franz, Paolo, that's going to be a lot of attention on them. It's going to find KCP open. I think he's going to be a great player going into next year. Just a great addition for the Orlando Magic. I really love that. Austin Reeves, again, a high-level scorer. A lot of the time with all the offensive goals that the Lakers have at times, he's able to kind of pick up that slack, at least as best as he can, right? I mean, he really tries. You can see that he cares. I think he plays the game the right way. He knows how to bait foul calls. He's crafty. He's got a great game. I'm going to take him at a B. Austin Reeves is a nice player. Josh Green is cool. Josh Green is no longer with Dallas. Josh Green is with the team is escaping me for whatever reason, but I will remember by the end of the time that I'm done evaluating him. So Josh Green is going to have he's with the Hornets now, right? I think he's with the Hornets. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's with the Hornets now. Let me quickly do a quick Google search. Josh Green. Yeah, with the Charlotte Hornets. Boom. Josh Green with the Charlotte Hornets. It's going to be good. Like he's I think he's probably going to be the shooting guard for the team. I think Brandon Miller is going to play the 3. Josh Green is good. He's not really a scorer. He's more of a defense hustler type. He reminds me of like DiVincenzo before DiVincenzo really turned it around offensively. That's kind of the vibes that I get from him. And that's what I see from his game. I think Josh Green will be like a solid addition for sure. And like a C tier is not bad, guys. I'm going to place him in a C. Like, look at these C tier guys. Oubre, Nembhard, Gary Trent, Jaden Ivey, T-Man. Like, these guys are good. Last but not least, we have Brad Beal. Brad Beal, nasty player. I don't know if he's quite the Brad Beal from a few years ago where he was averaging 30 on that awful Washington Wizards team. Or teams, I should say. I think Brad Beal is not quite what he was. He's still amazing. Obviously, this role that he has to play on the Suns is a little bit weird because him and D-Book are a little redundant. So I'm sure there's a little bit of, again, redundancy between the two and how they're able to share shots and stuff like that. I saw some amazing flashes from him last year. I mean, he was injured a bunch, but when he did play, I mean, he was pretty damn good. And I don't know if I'm taking him at an S with the same same level of dominance as I've seen with Luka, with Donovan Mitchell, and with Anthony Edwards. So I'll place him in an A. Devin Booker, now that I'm thinking about it, Devin Booker is actually a 3 this year because it's going to be Tyus Jones, probably Brad Beal because of the size difference, and Booker's going to play the 3, even though I think he's a more traditional 2. And then, of course, you're going to have KD and Yusuf Nurkic to round out that starting lineup. I know I said Devin Booker in the beginning of the video. Forgive me. He's the small forward video. We already ranked him. Guys, that was, let me switch off the camera here. All right, guys, that was the 30 starting shooting guards in the NBA going into the 24-25 NBA season. Let me pull it up again for you guys to get one final glance. Go ahead and drop a comment. Let me know if I completely messed this up. Let me know if I did a great job. Let me know if I did so-so. Drop a comment. We out here. Franchise players. Tons of more videos coming soon. Appreciate y'all. Lots of new, exciting things coming for the pod and for the channel. Appreciate every single one of you. We out of here. Peace. What is going on, y'all? Just finished up recording and realized that the Rode Wireless Me that I was using, that I had attached to my chain, was not working. We were getting a weak microphone signal from my laptop here. So my apologies for the poor audio quality. Next time, probably be using this Aston Stealth microphone, or I'm gonna try to find a way for this to work. So my apologies for the poor audio quality. Gonna be a lot better for coming videos. Appreciate you guys. So go ahead and drop a comment, like, and subscribe. We out of here. More videos coming soon. Peace.